Cold and flu season usually starts when the kids go back to school, everyone's starting to get back inside. It usually extends all the way through into the new year. But what happens during that? That's when, again, everyone's inside, they're indoors more, we're getting less sunshine, and there tends to be a lot of holidays, whether that's starting at Thanksgiving, we got Halloween, and we've got Christmas and all the holiday season around there, and then we got New Year's Eve. Well, what happens? There's a lot of sugar, there's less sleep, there's usually a little bit of stress, and there's less sunshine, and generally when we're indoors there tends to be a little bit less activity, and all of these are factors with your immune system. So the cold and flu season is very interesting how it falls around that time of year every year. There's so many things that we can do daily to really reduce our risk of any cold or flu related illnesses, and one of the easiest ones is wash your hands. It's as simple as after shaking a hand or opening a door, wash your hands. There's so many microbes that can be transferred from hand to mouth, and this is a big gateway. Even rubbing your face, you can be exposed. That's critical. Get some sleep. Reduce your stress. These go a long way. It shows that if you have a high sugary meal, that can suppress your immune system for a full 24 hours. And that just opens the door to any of these bugs that you may come in contact with. It's not about being perfectly clean. We can't live in a bubble. We are exposed to microbes everywhere, but it's about building up your own system and fortifying that. Keep your stress in check. Stress goes up, your immune system goes down. That's a fact. So make sure that when you do have a stressful day, make sure you're doing something to unwind and make sure that you're dealing with how stress affects you. And one of the big unknowns that I think really affects us is sugar. We eat a lot of sugar as a society. It's not about avoiding fruit, it's about the refined sugars. They're in everything. And it's been shown in studies that if you have a high sugar-based meal, you can actually suppress your immune system for a full 24 hours. And all that does is just open the door to some of these opportunistic microbes to take root and affect us. So you don't have to be perfect and never enjoy a nice piece of cake or never enjoy a nice, something sweet. But if you're doing this regularly, you are constantly putting stress on your immune system. So just keep that in mind. So here's a great list of a first aid kit to keep around. We all get sick from time to time, and the goal is to see how fast we can recover from it. If you feel that tickle starting to happen, first thing you do is you take some zinc lozenges. Okay, suck on a couple of those throughout the day. They can really start to have an antiviral and antibacterial effect up in your upper respiratory tract. The other thing is keep some vitamin C around. Vitamin C is huge. We've heard it for years. It works, and it has got a great affinity for somebody's immune system if it's starting to get run down. Up your dose, work with your practitioner, your healthcare practitioner, to find the right dose for you, but it is something that is very safe even for children, and that's something to keep around. Two of my favorite superfoods to help fend off colds and flus, one is ginger, and you can actually make a tea out of this. You can just literally take some ginger root, shred it up and boil it up and make a tea for the whole family and sip it throughout the day, and it's got a great antiviral set of properties for it. And we've all heard of garlic, and not many people like to take too much garlic, but garlic is a great food that will also boost your immune system. So keep those around. They're great for the first aid when you get that initial symptoms, and take those until the symptoms start to resolve. We see a lot of people who have I would say very severe forms of coughs, colds, and flus, and one of the therapies that has been really, really helpful is actually intravenous vitamin infusions, and they can be a very powerful way to administer a large variety of different nutrients that you absorb 100%. And what we can do is we can get the dose up very safely to a therapeutic dose that's really going to help stimulate somebody's immune system so that they can recover a lot quicker and faster. The second thing that I would definitely talk about is making sure that you're optimizing your vitamin D levels. 2/3 of Canadians are low in vitamin D, and that doesn't always mean that we're going to be susceptible to colds and flus, but it does increase our risk of that, and it really does make it harder for your immune system to respond. Very simple blood tests will help you identify where your levels are at, so I always caution people before you mega dose vitamin D to make sure that you do work with a healthcare practitioner that understands where optimal ranges should be, and that way you can formulate a program based on that. So those are two really helpful tools. The biggest takeaway is just stick with the basics. Make sure that you are getting your rest, keeping your sugars in check, keep your stress in check, and make sure you're washing your hands. Have fun, laugh, live your life, but those are some very simple things that can go a long way to help prevent and reduce the risk of a lot of colds and flus this year for you and your family. So impart those, keep your first aid kit around, and enjoy.